So, this sucks. As I've mentioned in other videos, I've been getting this car ready to sell it, because I just don't use it. And I had to change the steering box in my truck. Now, everything there went completely fine, and now it is fully adjusted. It does not bind, which basically means that the steering box just had like grease or something holding everything in place tightly, and now that it's actually worked in, it's completely garbage. Like, it's basically scrap metal at this point, so I have to change the steering box again. Because if I hit a bump, it'll try and like climb up over a curb or like completely veer off on the other side of the road. Like, it's actually worse than the steering box that was in it before, which I had already considered to be undrivable. And of course, after cleaning everything, once I finished the steering box, the receipt went somewhere with the garbage. I'm pretty much screwed on that one, and I have to buy another steering box, so that sucks. Didn't save anything by going with the cheaper route. But short story long, finished up the rest of the stuff, got it back on the road, daily driver. Because it has some dents and stuff anyway, there's like corrosion on the doors or whatever, and it's not like any of that was gonna be saved anyway. Like, I'm gonna be fixing all of this stuff regardless. So, might as well end up being a winter beater. And then in the spring, it gets all of the new parts, so that way it's, again, a nice car. Then at that point, I could sell it. The question at hand here is that my roommate was taking it to work, because I didn't need it. Her RSX was in here, so she was just taking it to work. There used to be a truck parked on the side of the road, so the plow was going around it every time, so it made this huge berm. As the sun rises from that direction, so you're literally facing the sun as you're driving. There was a recent snowfall, so it was all like completely white snow over top of it, so I don't know. It wasn't the most visible thing in the world. I wasn't there, so I'm not really sure what happened. But she drove into a snowbank, and I took some pictures. So I'll just kind of like put the pictures up or whatever so you can see. The snowbank on the right side of the car, like where this damage happened, it actually goes up just underneath the mirror. So she essentially hit a snowbank that was like just up to the top of the hood. Like, all of this snow right here is from the snowbank, like going up over top of the car. But obviously, because of the angle of a snowbank, it hit the bumper first and destroyed everything, and then the car went up over top of it, well, like through and over top of it, and then got completely beached with all four wheels off the ground. Just under some like quick review, obviously gonna need a bumper. She unclipped this, so that way it didn't drag and actually rip the wiring harness. The entire skid plate got completely ripped off. More fun damage down here. It's leaking oil from somewhere now. I'm not entirely sure where, but there is like oil all over the ground. A very slow leak, so hopefully it's just like a dented pan or something and it's just leaking from a bolt hole. The control arm on the back here is actually completely ripped off of the hub, and the spring and everything completely fell out. You can see the skid plate. It's actually kind of hard to see, but it's dented, like taco, but reverse. So all right here is dented in. You can actually see the scrapes, like the new ones where it's all shiny. And then this whole portion right here actually comes out, and these right here are like ripped forward. So I'm gonna have to either get a new skid plate or at the very least just bend this one back. The plowing situation in the city is pretty sketchy at best. Like, even on main roads, the entire right lane is about half the size. So for instance, my truck, if I were to be driving down the street, like if the steering box was good, the right tires would be essentially touching the snowbank, and the left tires would be over the line in the other lane. And then, because everyone is self-entitled, no one actually moves over to like accommodate other drivers in bad weather. So they all have that like self-righteous entitlement attitude where they're not going to move over at all. So then you just end up getting stuck. So basically you have to drive in the left lane, except for whatever reason, this year, the local police have given out an announcement that they're finally going to start ticketing people who just drive in the left lane and not let traffic pass. Deadly, that's happening. But why they decided to do that as of winter, when you basically can't use the right lane, I don't know. Cash grab? Like, it's just, I don't know. It's a stupid concept. But I knew damage was going to occur because the roads here are never maintained properly, and that's how the bumper originally broke, was just snow on the road, and that's what broke it. So I figured it was going to break again, no use getting a new one, just cut the whole bottom off. So that front mount there wasn't attached to anything. This portion right here wasn't attached to anything because the bumper was cut off. So it was only mounted on the side in the wheel well liners, and then on the back. But the concern that I have with the back is that these were just completely sheared off. And given that the subframe is aluminum, and with how cold it is, it might be cracked. This sucks. I have an immense amount of work ahead of me now. On the right side though, she said she's buying the car. So this is now my roommate's car. which I feel is a fair price for the car, like in its current condition, the way it was before hitting the snowbank. Because when I'm looking online, they're about $8,000 safetied. So considering all of like the little cosmetic things that I have to fix still, like changing this door so that way there's no dent, repainting it, obviously, so it matches, replacing the 2 rear doors, the RS3 side skirts. I was going to be selling it as is with the bumper that was cut, because like this bumper right here has been out of stock since I bought this house, which is now like a year and a half. Actually, now that I think about it, it's almost a year and a half exactly. But anyway, it's been out of stock for like a year and a half. And I got an email a couple weeks ago just randomly saying that it was in stock. And I was just kind of thinking like, oh, like how convenient that that finally comes back in stock just in time for me to be selling the car. Then a couple days later, this happens. So I sent the link to my roommate. She bought it, $850 for a piece of plastic. And I still got to get all the supplies and everything to paint it, which freezing in here, like as you can tell by the windows covered in ice. It's a non-heated garage, and this isn't a paint booth. So that basically means that I'm either going to have to send it somewhere to get painted, or I am going to paint it in here with kind of like a makeshift spray booth. Maybe I'll make a video on that. I'll try to do it like as budget as possible or something, show you where you can save money and like how to paint a bumper and get like professional results or something. I don't know. But basically all of this has to be fixed. Okay, so day 2, I took a hammer, straightened out the skid plate. That's good. Don't have to buy a new one of those. I popped the wheels off just like get a better look at it. It's up on jack stands. I mean, obviously. I mean, it doesn't look all that bad. Kind of. This sucks, but like less about like the car standpoint. Like I can fix this. Like this isn't a huge deal. It's more or less an issue with my schedule. Because like doing YouTube, I do it in 6-month intervals for this channel and my tech channel. Because all of my prior videos were always on one channel, and then because of the YouTube algorithm, it decided that if I'm posting lots of tech videos about cell phones and computers and whatever, and then I upload a video about a car, that doesn't fit the algorithm anymore, that it was posting my videos to other people. So all these people who are just interested in like messing with their phone or messing with their computer, a video of a car pops up on like how to change a sensor or something like that, or do some brakes or whatever, that's not relevant to their interest. So then they don't click on that video, and then the algorithm's like, oh, well, it didn't like that content, so we're not going to recommend your channel anymore. So short story long is I basically had to segregate all of my car channel video things, like all of like the automotive stuff, garage related, whatever. All of that had to go on its own channel, which is this one that you're watching the video on right now. But because there's no heat in here, it's freezing, and I don't want to be out here when I don't have to, I have a 6-month period for each channel. So from April until October, during the spring and summer, and like a little bit into the fall, that's when I'm trying to record all of the automotive videos and all of the stuff that I'm doing out here. So that way I can get a year's worth of content, upload to the regular schedule throughout the months for the entire year, and then from October until April through the rest of fall, winter, and then into the spring, that's when I record all of the tech videos. So I don't actually have to go outside. So I kind of had it all worked out, but then this happened. So this sucks for my schedule because right now I'm recording and editing tons of videos for the tech channel for the entire year, but now I gotta work on this. So with that being said, there's now going to be an overflowing amount of automotive content that I wasn't prepared for, which is good, because that means I can get more videos to you guys. But at the same time, that means that I'm now taking on an entire other project that I already didn't have time to achieve when I'm still trying to do renovations just to keep my house in a somewhat livable state. But, I mean, like, the story at hand is she was using the car to go to work, the sun rises from the east, she was driving east, the sun literally goes right in your face, and even in the pictures, you can see that the snowbank is within the shadow from the building. Driving down the street, everything's white, fresh snow on everything, so it's really hard to see like any kind of contrast between things when it's all the exact same shade of white pretty much. And she just drove straight to the snowbank. That's what happened. Like it's literally an accident scenario. Like it wasn't intentional, it wasn't paying attention. Even in the pictures, it's even hard to see how big the snowbank is from the portion that you can see, but in real life, it literally went up to the mirror. Like, it was a huge snowbank. Like, she basically drove up and over top of it until all 4 wheels were off the ground. So realistically, this car actually did fantastic for essentially driving into a snow wall. So, you know, like memes aside and everything, like German engineering. I think that's pretty good. But just quickly looking at it, like obviously it's going to need a new front bumper. Both horns are broken. I think the intercooler is probably going to be fine. If not, then at least aftermarket ones are cheaper than a factory replacement. So maybe we can get like a bigger front mount or something in there. Pretty much everything on this side is fine. I haven't checked the subframe yet because the skid plate was ripped off. So the rear bolts that attach to the subframe, those were likely sheared off or ripped right out. So like there's kind of two instances there. One, it stripped out the holes. So I'm gonna have to drill those out, retap it, and then put a bigger bolt in. Or it actually cracked the subframe, which means it has to be changed. So that's kind of still in the air, still need to look at it. As for the back, like this is going to be the biggest issue of all, is trying to fix this, because this completely ripped out and it actually ripped the rear subframe. You can see where this was supposed to be in here, right? But this isn't cracked. This is still good, so I can reuse this. This obviously needs to be changed. It ripped completely out of the control arm here. But the issue that concerns me is right here on the subframe, where it actually ripped it completely out through the subframe and then split the subframe. So I'm going to have to hammer all this back, try and weld it back into place, straighten it out, and then I'm going to have to try and make like markers between different components so that way I can align it perfectly with the other side, so that way it's not straight, so the car will still have a normal alignment. But if that's not feasible, then I'm just going to have to replace the entire rear subframe, which is going to suck. That's a huge job. But that's essentially the only thing that I'm really concerned about. Everything else is going to be super easy to change. But like I mentioned, well, I think I mentioned, she's buying the car off of me. She already paid me for it, so this is her car now. And that basically means that all of the previous, like, suggestion video things or whatever that I was going to be doing with this car, they're now getting done. My goal was to get the car into a state that I could sell it. And I was just going to continue doing work until it was sold. And then for the amount of work that I end up doing to the car, that was going to reflect the price that I wanted. So these cars, right now, according to the Canadian government, can be worth as low as $1,600 Canadian. So basically, this car in its current condition, right now, is worth $1,600 Canadian. But on the high end, so if I were to finish all the things, get rid of the rust on the doors, fix the dent on the driver's door by replacing it, and then repainting that replacement door, and before any of this damage happened, and then replacing the front bumper, this is worth $8,200. So it's a very substantial price gap between its current condition and completely fixed. So she bought the car off of me. I don't know if she wants like the price disclosed or anything like that, so I'm just going to kind of leave that out. But the car is sold. I got exactly what I wanted for it in the state that it was currently in without doing more work to it. So that's completely fine. Like, my hands are clean, walked away, the money paid off the Q7, so that's done. So now I don't owe anything on any of the vehicles that I have. They're all paid off now. But she needs the car fixed. I offered that I'll fix it in the exchange of making all of these videos for the car. So that way I can get content to show you guys how to do everything. Because I was initially going to do bodywork on her RSX for the exact same kind of trade-off. She was going to buy all of the supplies. I was going to do the labor in exchange for YouTube content, so that way I can kind of like make tutorials on how to do bodywork and everything. Now she's driving that because she has to get to work, so that car ended up just going off on the back burner. Now this one is the one that's getting fixed. And she literally said, well, I guess now we can do the rear doors, replace the front door, and then we can paint everything. So that basically means that we're going to strip down this car to every single part that's being replaced. We're getting rid of everything that needs to be replaced on this car. So we just have like a shell platform that we can start throwing all of the new parts onto. So basically, it's just going to be tons of A3 restore project stuff of like everything. Gonna fix all the paint, retint the windows, paint the back doors and replace those. We're gonna change the front door, paint that, all of the install stuff, the side skirts, the new front bumper, fog lights. Gonna either fix or replace the entire rear subframe. The front might have to be replaced. Again, fix or replace that. I guess just because the car was sitting for so long, the starter was acting up. It wouldn't start every single time, so you'd kind of have to rock the car. And then the starter would actually engage. So we got a new starter for the car, as well as a new fuse box, because these are notorious for having the fuse box melt, which is a recall. However, the closest dealer to me is about 750 kilometers away, so that's about like 470 miles. Plus, it would have to go in and get all the work done and everything, making an appointment and whatever, so that also encounters a hotel to stay there. And at the end of the day of having all of that done, I'm looking at somewhere around $500 with the fuel cost of going down, hotel, and then fuel costs coming all the way back just for warranty work. It's literally cheaper just to buy a brand new fuse box than it is to actually have the warranty work done because we don't have an Audi dealer. And for whatever reason, Audi says that Volkswagen isn't qualified to do warranty work under warranty. So, I think I got all of the bases covered. It was literally an accident, could have happened to anyone. I don't blame her for it happening. The timing just really sucks. It's good for you guys because that means we get to have tons more Audi content of basically rebuilding this entire car. It's also good that I sold the car. So this is no longer, well, I still have to deal with it. It's just, I didn't have to fund everything to deal with it. So now it's just parts arrive and I put them on and make a video. It's very simple. So like more content for you guys. The timing sucks because this is going to add significantly more stuff onto my schedule. But at the end of the day, that's life. It fucking sucks. So you just, I don't know, you gotta find a silver lining before you end up hanging yourself in the garage. So like the video if you liked it, or dislike it, that's cool. Subscribe to the channel because there's gonna be more of this crap. Or, don't do any of it. I'm not telling you what to do.